Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I was having technical difficulties with computers and such this Friday morning. So thank you for joining me. I wanted to talk to you today about going inward. Excuse me. So since we are, doing our thing this past 2 months and going up and down emotionally, I'm sure you have. I know I have. I've been through all sorts of layers of depression, disbelief, frustration, and then, you know what? And then now that it's lasted long enough for me, I think has made me get to is getting back to who I am, what I want to do, what my passions are, and what's important. So I wanted to talk to you about going inward and why it's so important today. We can really get lost in the outside world very easily with Facebook News, CNN, Fox, ABC, NBC, what the White House is doing, so forth and so on, right? And maybe they're trying to spread fear. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're just trying to do the best they can. I know we really are. But what really matters to me is that despite all of that, it's really important to focus on what you want and where you want to go and why you're doing it. And the more you let go of that outside world, the more you find your center and find your calm, and I'll get into what that is and how you get there. But the more you do that, the better off you'll be and the happier you'll be, because you are spinning your own energy. You're creating your own vortex of focus and drive and determination. And the more you get distracted with the outside world, you can ping it once in a while for major events and so forth. But when you are constantly looking outside of yourself, where is your focus? It's out there. Where do you think it really needs to be to make headway, to find your calm, to create that sense of self and that happiness? It's all self-created. All the gurus in the world, keep talking about going inward and so forth. Okay, but what does that mean? That's all well and good and so forth, but what does that mean? And I'll tell you, when I was growing up, I had a lot of hardships. I don't know if you've read my book, Becoming Ridiculously Awesome. Who doesn't want that yet? But, I had a lot of struggles growing up. Overall, there were a lot of wonderful things in my life, but I'm sure, like you, everyone has struggled. And what I noticed the most powerful times for me was when I said, I am focusing way outside. I am reaching, I am striving to get attention, I'm trying to do things for other people so I get, acknowledgement, attention, that sort of thing. It's natural when you're growing up, you're trying to learn the ropes and figure out how to live in the world. But as I got older and I said, why am I so unhappy? What is going on here where I am just struggling and striving? And I stopped. I just stopped looking outside. I stopped. And what I found was the more I helped other people, because it came from a well from within, the more I turned the outside world away a little bit or dulled it down. Just like imagine turning a dial down, going, okay, it's little white noise right now. I can get to it whenever I need to, but I don't need it. I don't get crazy energy from it. And the more I focused in on my own patterns, my schedule, my happiness, it starts off with, when do I want to go to bed? What do I want to eat? What's a little bit better for me? Let's get some flowers for the house. Let's make our bed. Like, just kind of create greater structure for yourself and do those small patterns every day. And the more you get into your patterns and not in a rigid way, but because it makes you happy, because it feeds your spring inside. Don't focus on anybody else's, but focus on yours. And the more you do that and create your structure and your plan and your happiness, then there will be this beautiful vortex of, they call the law of attraction, but it builds on itself. And the more you do that, and the energy will focus, and you'll be able to be stronger. And then the next choices will be easier and easier. So then the last few weeks has been interesting because, you just get thrown for a loop. The patterns they're not there anymore. Our kids are not in school, so that's a new pattern. They're home more often. They are, just there are so many things that were thrown out of whack. Food sources are different. Where's the toilet paper? Don't know where the toilet paper is. Where are we going to get it? Those are little stresses and you have to figure it out. Sleep patterns might be shifted. So anyway, so now that we are finding that we are resilient and we are strong and we can rely on other people and we are finding our neighbors more, which I love. People are smiling more, they're walking more, they are saying hi more, which I love. We are getting back, I think, more into our roots. Who are our neighbors? Who can we rely on? We're not going to rely on some third party source online quite so much. In some ways, yes, but now that we are delving into who we are, what are our neighbors, how can we find greatness in creating our superpower at home? You'll be able to be more powerful when you focus on who you are, what are your passions, what am I good at, what is my area of resources, and what is my area of influence. And sorry, my hand's a little too big here with this scale here. Let me just relate it to you this way. If you've ever done martial arts, there's a certain martial arts, it's ninjutsu. A lot of them have it in the higher realms. But one of my teachers, what I found so different about his work, and it's ninjutsu, is he says, look, you focus on energy coming out of your palms. You focus on the movements of your body moving in circles. And it took me, I met him in 2006. Actually in 2000, and then I later studied with him in depth in about 2006. And even now I'm relearning more about what he really means of when you are in combat and someone is moving into your space, you're not focusing on them. You're not focusing on, oh my God, and being reactive. You are focusing on your movements, how they operate in relation to another person, but you're focusing on your palms, your movements, your groundedness. And that martial art, that practice, you can definitely apply to every movement and every motion that you make in your daily life. And the more you do that with your career, with your relationships, with your calmness and how you are acting in every moment, the more powerful you'll become and the less reactive you will be. So I think it's important for you that when you get scared, when you feel small, when you feel frustrated, when you are focusing like, God, what am I doing? How are your emotions the more you watch the news cycle? What is your happy point? How can you create more happiness? You gotta create it. You can't find it necessarily out there, but maybe it's on a walk. Maybe it's creating more of a schedule. And the more you do it, focus inward, doing those movements. Okay, what am I bringing into my life? What am I sharing with myself and my family and my neighbors? And when you do that and you create that rhythm and that cycle, it is so important And you will see when you start to trust it more and you just go, I don't know if I'm making any headway. Am I making sense? Am I doing anything in the world with it? Does it matter? It actually does, and you have to have faith. You have to trust that what you do in those small movements and those small moments in the day, that when you focus on, when you know what is true for yourself and what you need to do for yourself, for your happiness and for your livelihood, it will keep going and building on itself, and it becomes more powerful and powerful, and you'll see it in a day. You'll see it result in better sleep, in better food choices, in smiling more, in meeting more neighbors, and so forth. And those bonds build, and it's so powerful, and we need that. Don't focus, to me, it's like, don't rely on the government. You can if you want to, but I think we are really powerful as single human beings, and the more we focus on what makes us happy and building on that, the greater our network will be and the greater our work will be. And you'll be able to have those moments every day where you can just be at peace, sitting, hanging out, watching a sunset. You don't need the outside world to give you your happiness. You've already created it. You're already building it. And that is where the power lies, in going inward. And I think it will bring you greater happiness. In the beginning, it's very difficult because you don't know if it'll work. You don't know if you're strong enough, if you, have enough resources, but you do. And I think the trusting aspect, you kind of got to leap out there to be able to find trust in going with your passions and finding that right career. And when you do, you find that beautiful sweet spot, and it will just naturally build on itself. And then it's just kind of like a rock rolling down a hill. It's that gravity fed, what you have put into it, you'll get out of it. And it will just naturally bubble out into the rest of the world. And when you are smiling and walking down the street, other people will just be naturally affected. They might not smile back, but you will have lightened their world. So when you focus on creating happiness for yourself and not for anybody else but you, and knowing that it is creating you peace and joy, because it is just creating you peace and joy and nothing else to feed the ego, then awesome. And I want you to check back in with me in a week. Buy yourself flowers, take a little walk, create a beautiful structure for yourself that creates calmness and happiness during the day. You're going to do amazing things. And do this for a week, and then do it for 2 weeks, and you will find how powerful you are. And then you don't need other things out there. You might not need quite so much, because that lack that you previously felt within yourself, that you're reaching out to try and find elsewhere, the news cycle gives you such this, they prey on kind of that survival mode. Oh, this horrible thing has happened, and oh my gosh, you have to be, scared of this and worried about that, and oh my gosh, the sky is falling. It is important to be informed, yes. Use your critical thinking, but do not buy into the fear, because then it sells their newspapers and it sells, their subscriptions. But then what's happening is that you are giving them your power. And it's one thing to be informed, but it is more important to feed your soul and to find your happiness and do what you need to do. And then when you find that, then you don't need those sources so much. And you can check in once a day, once a week, once a month. Okay, what's going on? Awesome. Okay, I'm doing my thing. And when you're doing your thing, you'll naturally attract more like-minded people, more like-minded businesses, more like-minded careers, more like-minded people that feed your soul and give you happiness back. And and you'll be in a whole new plane in 2 months, in a year. When you keep doing that, it can't stop you. Nothing can stop you. So happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for checking in with me. I'm going to evergreen this and put this on YouTube as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Buy my book, Becoming Ridiculously Awesome, Who Doesn't Want That? By Meredith Herrenbrook, yours truly, on Amazon, and my website, livingyourawesome.com. Have a wonderful weekend. I will talk with you guys soon. Thank you again.